Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game. So today I got a fun and exciting episode for you guys this evening as we're going to be taking a look at Supermodel Dojo. And if you know me and you know the channel, I talk about Supermodel regularly on the actual videos because it is the best and only Model 3 emulator out there. And if you're not aware, the Sega Model 3 is home to some of the best Sega arcade games ever made, and I have done tutorials in the past on Supermodel as well as the graphical user interface. But now today there is a new release of Supermodel Dojo, and I've been waiting to show this to you guys until I felt like it was ready for prime time, and that day is today. Before we get too far involved though, do me a huge favor, go down below, hit like and subscribe, and ring that notification bell. Definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, we got a Patreon link down below as well. But if you're wondering what Supermodel Dojo is, it's basically a brand new front end and networking system that is going to be feature parity with Supermodel because it's going to bring down the most recent version of the Supermodel emulator. That's a lot of words to say, Supermodel over and over again, but I think I got past it. And this is absolutely incredible because the previous front end, while good, can be hard to locate sometimes. I get a lot of questions as to where to find it, and the nice thing about Supermodel Dojo is it's an active project that is getting improvements, and it's going to make Supermodel 3 emulation a lot easier for a lot more people, and having the networking included in there as well is going to be absolutely spectacular. Now you will see a list of supported games. This can be a little bit confusing. You're going to see the Virtual Fighters, Fighting Vipers 2, and Virtual Striker, and those are of course going to work on Supermodel Dojo, but that's just talking about the compatibility for the networking features so you can play against friends. Every single game that works in Supermodel 3 is going to be working in Supermodel Dojo. So if you read that just to think that there's only 4 games that will emulate here, that is incorrect. And you will notice the black bars there. You can force this to 16 by 9. I'm doing it at 1920 by 1080. Some of the games do still have a little bit of that letterboxing incorporated in for the 4:3 aspect ratio. But honestly, Supermodel is an absolutely incredible emulator. The team that originally made it did an amazing job, and they are still updating it today. And Frosted Moon Tips created Supermodel Dojo as that front end and wrapper for Supermodel 3, which is going to allow you to basically have an easier way to change your settings and configurations, your controller bindings, and again be able to play these games online. Now do be aware this is a work in progress project, and I'm sure it's going to get updates, but today if you go and check it out, I think everyone's going to have a good time, and that's why I kind of waited around a bit to do this video. If we take a look at the actual front end here, it is quite nice. It's going to have all of the games you place in the ROMs folder, and I'll show you how to do that in just a moment. You're going to be able to record training sessions and even jump back in, which is something that was never been able to be done before. And of course, you're going to have all of the diverse settings that the Supermodel emulator is going to give you, including full screen, widescreen, the ability to change your resolution, and everything else. You're even going to be able to change the PowerPC frequency. On some games, you're going to have to dial that up just a little bit. And of course, you're going to be able to control all of your bindings as far as the controllers are concerned, so you can set whatever you want. I use an arcade stick for this, and you will see here we have the full network settings now as well, and that's going to be for the Virtual Fighter games, Virtual Striker, as well as Fighting Vipers. So you're going to be able to jump online once you set a server up and be able to play against your friends even if they're not technically right next to you, and that is amazing. But just remember, these are the games that currently work. I'm sure more will be expanded upon when it actually starts to get a little bit more improved, but again, you have to realize that this is the full fat Supermodel emulator, so even though it just says that supported list of 4 games, it's going to run absolutely every game in Supermodel that would work in the standard fork. Something like Harley Davidson versus LA Riders here, you're going to be able to play it just like you would in Supermodel because Supermodel Dojo is just that same emulator. It's now just cleaned up, given a new front end, given networking features, the ability to record and jump back into training sessions, and a ton of other quality of life improvements that I think honestly the Supermodel emulator was kind of overdue for. And that's not a knock against the original team that make this thing. They do an amazing job, but as far as emulation is concerned, I say Supermodel is a little bit more on the difficult end of things, and Supermodel Dojo is going to make that a lot easier for a lot more people, so you're going to be able to play a lot more Sega games, and you know that makes me happy. So just playing something like Harley Davidson here, you can play it with a wheel and pedal set, you can play it with an analog controller, you can play it with your keyboard. It looks amazing, and of course because Supermodel 3 emulation has so much good audio as well, it sounds great too. So go ahead and listen, and I'll be right back with more features. Looks great, sounds great, and controls great, and that's because it is just Supermodel, because Dojo is that graphical user interface over the top, so it is using the most recent build of Supermodel and giving you new features, and that again is going to be absolutely spectacular, especially for the net play and trading stuff. It's going to allow you to go in, record your sessions, jump back in, kind of practice moves, do anything else you want in any single game, but I'm pretty sure the networking is probably going to be the most exciting stuff out of all of this, because if you're like me, you might love fighting games, but you might not have a single friend in real life that wants to play one with you because they don't like the genre. So trying to actually do a little bit of net play isn't going to be the worst thing in the world. And you'll see here it's by default going to record all of your sessions, and you're going to be able to go ahead and reload those so you can watch them back, kind of like a capture system built into the actual graphical user interface. You're also going to be able to take over that replay. So if you want to drop into that replay, it's basically almost like a save state in and of itself. And that is a really fun feature. I think it's going to be good for a lot of training sessions, especially if you're trying to get better at a fighting game and you want to practice a particular move or against a particular character over and over again. And something like Fighting Vipers 2 here being available as a net play game, it's just awesome because it's one of those things. Yes, it came out on Dreamcast, but it is one of those games that I just find to be a little bit more fun when you're playing it on Model 3. And leave me a comment down below and tell me how you feel about this game. I feel like some people absolutely love it and some people do not whatsoever. I'm in the love it camp, but I know it can be a slightly divisive game. And again, the best part is because this is just Supermodel emulation under the graphical user interface for Dojo, the performance is absolutely incredible, and in a lot of ways it's going to be better than using real Model 3 hardware, not just for the fact that you don't have to wire up a giant metal box, but you're going to get a lot of improvements. And you do get on the GitHub page, as I will link down below, all of the directions on how to set NetPlay up, including hosting the session and joining an already in progress session. Again, this is going to require you to enter in some details and get good with numbers. It's going to kind of feel like trying to do networking back in the DOS game days when you're playing Duke Nukem 3D with your friends, but trust me, it does work if you just pay attention to the actual tutorial here. It is quite easy, and you will notice that there's going to be a couple notes as well. You want to make sure the PowerPC frequency across both instances is correct, as well as the refresh rate and delay. You don't want these running at a different speed. And the best part is the installation is absolutely insanely easy. You unzip the zip file from Discord that has the preview for build in it, and you go ahead and go into that folder once you unzip it. You can delete it to keep your files clean if you want to. And then once you're in this folder, you're going to see a dojo.exe. That's going to load up the front end, and you're going to see a folder for ROMs. Obviously, that's going to be where all of your games go. So if you already have an instance of Supermodel with ROMs working, just go ahead and copy and paste them over like I'm doing here, and you'll see all of those diverse files. So when you actually open that dojo.exe file, it's going to automatically ingest every game in this folder and present it to you as playable. If it doesn't show up, that means the files aren't good or it's not there. And you'll be able to just pop in once you've configured the controls and get gameplay that looks this good and sounds this good. So it's your second soundtrack sample. 30 seconds and I'll be right back.
Fight 1. Ready, go!
An amazing soundtrack that sounds great coming out of Supermodel, and again, every single Model 3 game that works on Supermodel is going to work on Supermodel Dojo. So if you want to jump in and play some Scud Race, you can 100% do that. Now the question is, should you pop over from your installation of Supermodel over to Dojo right now? And honestly, in my experience, I think you should. Download Supermodel Dojo, set up the front end. It's going to be the exact same emulation experience you get out of standard Supermodel with a graphical user interface or a command line usage if you're doing that. But it gives you so many new features. The replay, the training mode, the networking mode is going to be absolutely spectacular. It already is, and I'm sure more games are going to get incorporated in so you can play against friends either locally or a little bit further away when they're not in your house. And I love that people are out there kind of tinkering with Supermodel, giving us a better version of an already incredible emulator. Because when I say Supermodel 3 is the best way to play Model 3 Sega arcade games these days, unless you're an arcade collector, I 100% mean it. I've got a couple Model 3 boards in the closet, and honestly, I haven't taken them out in years because they play every bit as good and slightly better on my PC via Supermodel than they do as original hardware, but I love my Sega hardware, so I always keep it around. But leave me a comment down below and tell me if you've been using Supermodel in the past or not, and if you want a tutorial, I have one on Supermodel with the old graphical user interface, and 95% of that information information is going to be accurate for Dojo. But if you want a Dojo specific emulation tutorial, leave me a comment down below and maybe I'll make it. But go check this out, the link's down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.